Greetings and welcome to Wisconsin in Focus, powered by the Center Square. I am Dan McCaleb, Executive Editor of the Center Square Newswire Service. Joining me today, as he does each and every week, is the Center Square's Wisconsin correspondent, Ben Yount. How are things today, Ben?
I can't believe we're already going back to school. It's just a couple of weeks. I know you got your daughter off to college. My last starts high school this year. The last of the four will be in high school. And so no more junior high for me, just high school problems from here on out.
I guess I say congratulations, but I'll also say good luck with that. I remember the high school years here, both drama and certainly fun. But yeah, Ben, let's just get right into it. We're recording this on Thursday, August 24th. Republicans in the legislature are continuing to put a full court press on the Wisconsin Department of Health Service over how it spent millions of dollars in COVID-19 relief funding. The Joint Legislative Audit Committee met at the Capitol on Tuesday and pressed the agency for answers about a recent audit that found it lost millions of dollars and other things. Ben, you covered the hearing. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this one focused on certain grants out of DHS. The ventilator issue was there. But while they were trying to narrow the focus down to about $160 million in what are called healthcare and emergency medical service grants, this really is a big picture that Republicans have been chipping away at for years. Wisconsin, like every other state of the nation, found itself receiving billions of dollars during 2020 for coronavirus aid. And some of that money was targeted. You pay for the National Guard somehow, got to pay for those face masks and those test strips somehow. But an awful lot of this money was just sort of thrown out the door in Washington, D.C. And when Wisconsin got this, the evidence has shown that the money was essentially thrown out the door on this end as well. And the key question always comes up with these audits, because it wasn't just this audit that the Audit Commission has looked at. There have been 3, 4, 5, 6 different audits of different parts of state government, and we've written about them all at the Center Square. The pattern seems to be that the Evers administration just sort of decided, well, go ahead and spend the money. There wasn't really a written policy. There's no documentation to say, okay, well, why did you send this money to this place? Why did this business get this much money? And what have we gotten for all of this money? And we talked about it last week on Wisconsin in Focus, that there is this sense between the Evers administration and the Republicans in the legislature. They don't trust each other. That's obvious. But there is this pushback from the governor's administration, not just the governor himself and the sort of the C-suite executives, but you get down to the actual cabinet level in the building at DHS or at Department of Workforce Development or over at DISPIS, the Department of Safety and Professional Services. And there is this reluctance to say anything about anything, and that leads to frustration. And so while this was focused on ventilators and other specific medical grants, this is one more piece of the puzzle, Republicans say, that point to the fact that this money may have just been wasted, or worse in their eyes, may have been spent to benefit the governor politically, because don't forget, this all ran into an election, and it helped that Tony Evers was able to go around the state of Wisconsin cutting checks for everything from, the hospital to make sure they have what they need, to the local minor league baseball team and the Peninsula Players Theater Group up in Door County. There was an awful lot of money that was spent. And this is one more audit that suggests we really don't know exactly where it was spent.
Interesting. Ben, you referenced the ventilators. The department, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, in the early months, there was this big push nationally in Wisconsin, but also across the country, to get hospitals more ventilators. Wisconsin Department of Health Service, of course, did its part, got ventilators out there. At least 6 are now missing. But this is sort of related, but kind of an off-topic question, because I'm just fascinated by this question. Thousands and thousands and thousands of new ventilators were built and sent across the country. Now that COVID's over, what are hospitals doing with those ventilators? Are they just sitting in a corner somewhere?
You've got to imagine that they're there next to all of the extra latex gloves and all of the face masks and all of the rapid testing COVID kits that we all stockpiled, right? I mean, I think if I open up my closet across the way, I think I'll probably find some face masks and some of the nasal swab strips.
That begs one real quick question from me, Ben. Were you a toilet paper hoarder during the pandemic?
No, honestly, we couldn't get it up here. You were just grabbing napkins at the Culvers just in case you ran out. My wife, honest to God, true story, like during the first week when it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve, she went to Sam's or Costco or something and bought just a suitcase, a literal suitcase full of snacks. And we put it in the suitcase, zipped it up, and hid it in the closet just in case, we had to grab and go like it was some sort of zombie apocalypse.
I think everybody stockpiled a little bit of something, at least.
Yeah. This is sort of the thing, is that this ventilator program, it wasn't just 2020. It was 2020 through 2022. And by the summer of 2020, certainly by back to school time, September, October, Wisconsin Republicans were pushing to get this state back open. They're like, all right, we know what we're dealing with. We know who is most at risk: older people who are sicker. Turns out people who are bigger, they were the most at risk. And so Wisconsin was one of the states that very quickly reopened. There was a Supreme Court battle that opened this state. And so, again, when you put this question of, okay, we spent how much on what? $39 million on 1,500 ventilators. And they were buying these a year or so after the peak concern of the coronavirus. And this audit found that, we don't know where these things went. It's 6 ventilators cost $123,000. Now, I don't think it's sitting in Roy's pawn shop down in Racine, but when the government spends a lot of money, and this is one of the things that we've talked about since the beginning here at the Center Square: waste, fraud, and abuse. And it doesn't matter if it's waste or fraud, that's taxpayer money that went out the door, and we just don't know where. And again, when you put this audit, this ventilator audit, next to the audit for broadband connection, which state paid a lot of money to expand broadband with zero actual receipts to tell us what we got for that money. Same thing with the money for tourism. Same thing with money that just went to sort of the size of state government. A good third, if not more, of what Wisconsin spent was spent on state government, hiring people at DHS, adding more people to the testing program, that you get a picture. And again, ask any prosecutor, when you're putting together a circumstantial case, how many pieces of the puzzle do you need before you know the picture that you're looking at? And Republicans say they're clearly looking at a picture where somebody was playing fast and loose with the rules, and a good chunk of this money, they say, got wasted.
Yeah. And nationally, it's in the tens, maybe even the hundreds of billions of dollars. Ben, thank you for your insight here, but we are out of time. Listeners can keep up with this ongoing story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Ben Young, I'm Dan McCaleb. Please subscribe, and thank you for listening.